everybody. My name is Ryan and I'm 8 years old, and in today's video we are going to tell about Titanic's tragedy. You know the Titanic hit the iceberg and sank, and also there is 1,500 sank and died. But the 705 people survived. At the night of April 14th, the lookout, Frederick Fleet, saw an iceberg. He rang the bell, said, "Iceberg, right ahead." And he also telephoned the officers in the police in the room that the crew was living, and the people heard that the Titanic struck an iceberg, and they all run to the F deck, but a lot of people is asleep, and they didn't know that the Titanic struck an iceberg. When they woke up, the ship is already sank a lot of parts, and the compartment was flooded with water. And when it's almost sank in the ocean, the ship broke apart because it's too heavy, and it's also too heavy. So the ship split two parts, and they sank together. After the Titanic sank, the Carpathia arrived to pick up the passengers who not died, and they survived the disaster. When everybody thought of the news of the Titanic, they were shocked and saddened. They thought the ship would not sink, but the ship did sink. And when in 1985, ferry ocean explorer Robert Ballard, the ship of the crew of the Navy ship the Nore, they traveled through the Atlantic Ocean for a lot of years, and one day on September 1985, they saw a magnificent Titanic boiler. They told the submarine to go down and check if it's the real Titanic. When they saw it was a real Titanic, and they saw there's a lot of broken pieces and a lot of things in the sands. But they did not found any bones or people. They just saw the ship, and they also saw a broken piano, and they saw a big box, and they put it on, and they told the crew to lower down a thing that can take the box away. And when they put it on the ship, Robert Ballard checked the box inside. They saw a painting of a picture of a woman who was beautiful, who has a big and beautiful necklace. Then they telephoned the television, and then they make a video of the painting, and when the people who survived the Titanic saw it, and he told the Robert Ballard that he was the people who was in the picture, and Robert Ballard sent a helicopter to take him to the ship, and then she told the story of the Titanic, and then the helicopter came back to pick him up back to his home, and they were picked up by the helicopter and went home. Then the Robert Ballard thought that Titanic was the most powerful ship that sank. When everybody thought of the Titanic, and they were many thought they will watch it in YouTube and see the video that it's sinking, and also the songs. I watched the movie of Titanic on iPhone TV, and also the Titanic was mystical that the ship carried 400 passengers on board, and they didn't have enough lifeboat to save everyone, because the White Star Line, the ship, the people who designed the Titanic, they thought they will have 20 lifeboats on board to let the first class passenger to check the deck. It's very beautiful, and they fought, and it was beautiful, aligned with lifeboats. It's lined, and each side has 10 lifeboats. When the lookout fleet saw the iceberg, the first officer, William Murdoch, told the crew to turn the ship, and also told the crew to stop the propellers, so it can slow down and pass the iceberg. But the people didn't fought. But the first officer turned the spinning thingy into the full, and the people who control the propellers, they stopped the propellers, but it was still working, so they tried to stop, but it's still working, and it's turned, and the ship quickly passed the iceberg and hit it. Then the captain went in the driving room and asked the first officer what was the scraping noise. And the first officer said, "It's an iceberg, sir." He told the crew to stop the propellers, but it's still working, and he tried to turn the ship very quickly, but it still hit. And the captain said, "Close the watertight doors," and the first officer said, "It's already closed." And there were a lot of people sleeping, but the main character was not asleep, and because they heard a noise and thought it was a massive thing hit the Titanic, and they went out to check. It was a big iceberg. Then a lot of people went out and start to play with the iceberg that was hit by the Titanic. And they didn't think that the ship was sinking, because it's unsinkable, but it sank, and a lot of people try to run away from the water, but the water is too quick, and it catch up to the ships when on the catch up to the ship's driving room, and the captain went into the driver room, and he said he will stay with the ship and ground with his ship. And the ship began to slip down into the waves. The driver room became full of water, and the captain died with the ship. Also, the builder, Thomas Andrews, said he will stay with the ship sink too. But the chairman of the White Star Line, J. Bruce Ismay, survived in lifeboat 20. And the crew tried to rescue most people in the Carpathia, and the Carpathia ships arrived to pick up the Titanic survivors, and they said, "Everybody, if you are still alive, just tell us." And and it was still at night, and they have torches around them to see if there was any people then was alive. Then, when the ship was leaving the Titanic disaster site, they went 2 days. Then they arrived the place at the New York City, and there were 2 people died, and they were the owner of the New York department store, Isidore and Ida Strauss, and they died. The Isidore said, "You need to go onto a lifeboat," but Ida Strauss said, "I don't want to leave you. Where you go, I go." And also a person who was 16 years old was allowed to board a lifeboat, but he refused. Said, "No, I'm going to stay here with the men." And thank you for watching this video. I hope you enjoying my video, and please share, subscribe my channel, and slash the bell. Goodbye, everybody. See you next time in the next video episode.